Good morning. So me, Andy and Billy Bob, we're at Wastwater, which is behind me, as we're going to do a round of Middle Fell, Seatallan and Buckbarrow. One of my favourite walks this is. And we got up really early this morning to hopefully get a sunrise, which we're just waiting for right now. It's trying to happen. So yeah, we was up at 5 o'clock this morning. So here's Andy. So we're waking up. It's a bit too early, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's about a round of about 7 miles, and it should be a really good walk. So I hope you join us on our wee adventure.
A wee adventure.
A wee adventure, not weird, wee.
A wee adventure.
First, looking back to Wastwater Screes, you've got Wainright and Ilgle Head up there, and Wastwater. That's where we've parked the car down there at Greendale. On a grassy verge, room for about 8 cars, just past those cottages. So you can see the path heading from Greendale, where you park the car, heading up onto the side of Middle Fell, zigzagging up, and then you head round the back and you aim up Seatallan, which you can't actually see from here, and then that's Buckbarrow. That's our last hill of the day. Now there is a route going down the far side of that, which we have done before, but today we're going to attempt to go to just NAYLOR'S Cairn, which is around there somewhere, and come down the Greendale Beck like this. So that's our plan today. For now we're going to head up Middle Fell. It's like when someone spits in your face. Do you remember when you was a kid and your mum used to spit on a hanky and then wipe your face?
She still does.
here the path splits. That's Greendale Gill, and you can return via that path if you just want to do Middle Fell on its own. But you split off right, heading up the fell side onto Middle Fell at this junction. That's Buckbarrow, and you can see our descent route. We're going to head to just NAYLOR'S Cairn, which is just about there, and you can see a path heading down before you get to Tungill, which is there. It just heads down like that, traversing down, crossing that gill there, all the way down to Greendale where you park the car. So it's just a rocky path, kind of stepped in a fashion, heading quite steeply up to Middle Fell. So the steep bit doesn't last for that long, and then it flattens out to more of a plateau. About halfway up the fell, I would say. So that's Seatallan, and you can see where we're going to have to head very steeply up onto the summit, and then you head along a lovely flat ridge line, very easy, can be a bit wet, to a cairn where you turn left, then to Gladehow, and then to Buckbarrow, which is there. You can get to see the Scafells there. You get a really good view when you're on the top of Middle Fell. That's the top just up there. We're not far. So the summit of Middle Fell. What a view. So that's Seatallan, our next hill of the day, and behind you'll have Cairn, Haycock, Scafells, Red Pike I think, and you've got in the far distance Kirk Fell and Great Gable. In the middle you've got Buckbarrow. Then you're going along, you've got Scafells Pike, Scafells, Slight Side, and then in the foreground you've got Ilgill Head and Winrig and the coast. We're just trying to work out, in the far distance, one of the fells is absolutely white in snow. It must be Helvellyn, and yet there's nothing on the Scafells and nothing around here, and yet on the, it must be the eastern fells, it must be Helvellyn. There's a bit of snow. So we're just heading off Middle Fell now, and we're heading towards Seatallan. Now we're actually up at this height. The ground's quite solid and frozen now. It was 2 degrees at the car, but yeah, it's all nice and frozen. That's our view. Fantastic, eh? So you just follow a grassy path, a grassy trod towards Seatallan. And you head down quite a bit to get to the coal. I'll show you in a bit. Pretty amazing view heading down Middle Fell. In fact, the whole summit view is just fantastic. It's a great hill to do, but it's a great round to do. So you can start to see now the coal that you're going to head down towards, and the very steep path heading up, straight up to Seatallan, and it is a killer. It really is. There's no doubt about it. I think it's slightly better going up it rather than down it though, I think. I think I've made a decision that I'll head back down via Greendale Tarn back to the car, and then I'll just steal your footage.
Yeah, no problem.
And you do Seatallan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that then?
It's just that steep path going up to Seatallan.
Looks alright.
So we're down from Middle Fell now, and we're approaching the squelchy ground towards Seatallan. And at this point, if you don't want to do Seatallan or Buckbarrow, you can veer off left. There's a track and it goes down to Greendale Tarn, and I'm pretty sure there is a track all the way from the tarn back to the car.
It is.
And it follows Greendale Gill. So there's that alternative if you just want to do Middle Fell on its own. But we are being completely mad, as we like a challenge, and we're just insane, and we're heading up Seatallan.
Lovely!
Bring it on!
A bit wet down here, isn't it?
A bit.
Well as you need.
So that's looking back to Middle Fell, and you can see Greendale Tarn there. There we go. Oh God. So steep. Anxiety. Oh God. Oh, hang on, I've got a bit of spray on my knee. I need my sticks. What did you think of that?
Lovely. It's alright, isn't it?
Steep, isn't it?
Steep as hell. Steep as hell.
I think I might have said never again, didn't I?
A few times.
A few times. Never
You're crawling
again.
once or twice as well.
I was on my hands and knees at one point.
But I helped you.
Oh, did you? What, by filming me?
Yeah.
See, that's Middle Fell. Scafells. Great Gable, isn't it epic? so worth the steep climb, it really is. Now I've done it. As you can see, it's a very wide flat top, which is very deceiving if you do this the other way round, and then you've got that huge descent. So you've got a trig and a wind shelter. I'll bring you back when we get the view from the actual summit, but it's a lovely view of the coast. Over there you can see Ravenglass and probably Morecambe, maybe not Morecambe, but certainly Ravenglass, and the lovely Sellafield. You would see Scotland over this way, but it's a bit plugged in as it's going to deteriorate tonight, the weather. And you've got the lovely Glendale Valley the other side, very peaceful. The Glendale Forest, it's a lovely little stroll. The Glendale Forest, it's a lovely little trails through that forest from Gosforth village. Wow, this is the view over Cairn. We have Ennerdale beyond that, Haycock. I'll bring you back in a bit. Oh, it's cold. Right, let's take you to this other little cairn, because you get a view of, I think it's called Pots of Ashes, something like that. Wow, you can see Seatallan in the distance there. That would be Red Pike on the right of it. There's a pillar behind that. I don't know if you can see the summit. Black Crag, Scafells. You have Steeple beyond Scafells, but you can't see that. That is Haycock and Cairn, Ennerdale behind that. This is the lonely, remote Glendale Valley. Look at that. Lovely and peaceful. Glendale Forest at the far end, and Sellafield and the coast, the Irish Sea. This is the shelter which is needed today, as it's bitingly cold on here today. Tell you how cold it is up here. It really is Baltic. So we're leaving. Let's take this off. It looks so stupid. So we're leaving Seatallan in, I would say, a kind of like westerly direction, on a grassy trod, heading towards Ravenglass in that direction. And it's a very long flat ridge. I'll show you when I get a better view of it. It's a very long flat ridge. It can be a bit boggy in places, and it heads over to Glade Howe, to a cairn where you turn left, and then you'll see Buckbarrow in front of you once you turn left. Lovely view coming off Seatallan over Glendale, the coast. You can see we're going to head to that far point there and then turn left, and that's Buckbarrow just there. We've got Blackcomb behind. The light on New Barrow. Wow. So we're just heading along. There's Wastwater Screes. We're approaching Catfield. This is where you're going to turn left at a kind of rocky outcrop. If I remember rightly, there's a cairn on it, I think. Yeah, this is the cairn on Catfield, where you turn left. There you are, a really good marker for you. Epic cairn. Oh, it's so funny. You should see the fun and games Andy's having with his Neo. It wouldn't come back to him and he's trying to catch it and knock it out the sky with a stick, and
Oh shit!
it just flew off. So you're not knocking me out of the sky.
Absolute nightmare. It's like having a bloody puppy.
It's like having a child.
It's like having a puppy drone that doesn't do anything it's supposed to do.
So we're nearing Buckbarrow now. You can see there's a prominent cairn on it, on the left outcrop we're heading to. There's not much ascent from the path. Oh, I think we'll head up behind the back. Yeah. And look at the crepuscular rays behind as well, shining onto the coast and the sea. Summit of Buckbarrow. That's the coast. There's Wastwater, the Screes. There's the Scafells and Mosedale Fell that we were on, the first hill of the day. Cracking viewpoint. And we're going to head down here towards, and along there, towards just NAYLOR'S Cairn, which is around about, I don't know, there somewhere. And then we're going to head down towards Greendale Gill. Look at the light and the atmospherics of Scafells. So we have come from there, Cairn and Greendale. That's Seatallan. So you can see our route heading up Mosedale Fell, down the Coal, up Seatallan, along the ridge to Cairn, left along here onto Buckbarrow. So in my previous video on Mosedale Fell, Seatallan and Buckbarrow, we descended straight down the front of Buckbarrow, and I'll show you from the cairn. You would head in a westerly direction down there. There's grassy trod, and it takes you round the left hand side of the crags, and you aim for a bit of a gill, but you can watch that on my previous video, and it takes you down there back to the road, and it's a bit of a walk back to where you parked the car. But as I say, today we are heading in the opposite direction towards just NAYLOR'S Cairn, heading back as if you're going back to Mosedale Fell almost, and Greendale Gill, and I'll bring you back when we're at the cairn, at just NAYLOR'S Cairn. So we're heading towards Mosedale Fell and the Scafells, just following a very faint grassy trod, and then you should be able to see just NAYLOR'S Cairn coming into view in a bit once we head round this Bit of a headland here. Flipping thing's not on the path, is it? So we've gone down a bit too far down. I have to go back up to show you this thing. But it's worth it because it's such a fantastic shape, Cairn. And it was actually built by Joss Naylor, I think. So it says on Google. It was built by Joss Naylor to commemorate the Queen Mother's 100th birthday. And apparently he repaired it on the day that she died. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's a fantastic cairn. So there is the cairn. It's fantastic, isn't it? It's very tall.
So is Josh.
Tall and skinny like Joss. And there's a plaque there saying, "This cairn rebuilt by Joss Naylor to celebrate the life of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, 30th of March 2002.
Which side? One on each side?
Don't push it too much.
Come on!
Come on, Beaver.
We're doing a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
So the path now heads back round. There's Tungill in front. It heads down the fell side before you get to Tungill. Initially I think quite steeply, and then it will head right, traversing the fell side along Greendale Gill. Right, so you cross over this gill. Once you're down the most awful, slippy, steep path, eroded path, you cross this gill. Which you have to ford. Not too bad. And you end up on a traverse path. Oh, look at the light there. Wow. Look at that. Yeah, I would advise you not to go the way that we've gone, to be fair. I don't know, I find it really hard. Eroded, slippy, very, 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 very steep. On the edge, sheer drop to your left. So it takes you out onto where the bridge is there. Just the other side of those cottages, and you can see where the car is there. So not far now.
Nice.
Look at that misty atmospherics going on. Wow.
Nice, isn't it?
So I'm nearly back at the road. You've got this lovely wiggly wall. What craftsmanship is that? Isn't that a fantastic wall? Anyway, and we're gonna get to the main road. There's the bridge at Greendale. It's lovely here. We've got the cottages there. We've just parked on the far side of those cottages. But I'll show you the gill. Back at the car, so I'm going to say goodbye. I reckon it's about a 6.5 mile route what we did. I would maybe advise a descent route not to go that way. It was very rough, slippy, yeah, hard going. It took us 2 hours to get down from Buckbarrow, which I just find amazing. So I would actually go the way I was mentioning before, down the front of Buckbarrow to the right hand side of the crags to the gill, and it takes you down to the road a lot further up, mind, and you have to walk back along the road, but it's not as rough going. Yeah, so a good route. 3 Wainrights, Middle Fell, Seatallan and Buckbarrow. Great views of the Scafells. So I hope you enjoy our wee adventure with Andy. Say bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I hope you catch us again on another adventure very soon. And there's Billy Bob. Good morning and welcome to Map and Scissors Time, and this is a route for Middle Fell, Seatallan and Buckbarrow from Greendale, just near Wastwater. And you park on a grassy verge just here as you're coming along from Gosforth, and you pass these cottages and you park up on a grassy verge, room for about 8 cars. It's called Greendale, and you follow a track heading towards Greendale Gill. And you come to a point where you have a path and it forks. You've got a fork to the right going up the fell side, which is the one that you actually take here. This path here comes down from Greendale Tarn if you just want to do Middle Fell on its own. So you look out for this junction and you head right up a stony, steep track, heading up the fell side towards the Cairn on Middle Fell. You have great views over Wastwater and over to the Scafells. And then once you're on Middle Fell, you head in a northerly direction down a section on a faint trod heading towards the coal in between Middle Fell and Seatallan, as this is the second hill that you're aiming for. This is a squelchy area, always wet here. So you squelch your way along and then you'll see the trod going up, and it is very, very steep at this top section here. You've got eroded footprints and footmarks in the ground, but it is extremely steep, as you can see from the contours. So you'll be very glad when you actually top out onto a very broad, wide summit top. Now you head for a prominent twig and a wind shelter, which is actually an old terminus. It's an old burial cairn which they have made into a bit of a wind shelter, as it's usually very windy on this summit. You get great views down here into the Greendale Valley, and you can see over to Haycock and pillar, and again over this way to the Scafells. They're always in view on this route. Now it's a very easy, usually boggy ridge, a nice steady decline heading down towards Cat Builds, and there is a prominent cairn on an outcrop of rock. And once you reach this cairn, you head left, heading towards another cairn on another prominent rock outcrop called Glade Howe. Once you reach this cairn, you will then see the cairn on top of Buckbarrow, which is actually round about here somewhere, I think. But you will see the cairn in view. That's the summit of Buckbarrow. Now our route this day was to head back towards Joss Naylor's cairn. I think it's vaguely marked on the map as here, but you head down on a track and it's just before you reach Tongue Gill. This is going to be your descent route, so I'm pretty sure it's this mark here on the map. So once you've reached Joss Naylor's cairn, you want to head down towards Tongue Gill, and you'll find a grassy, eroded path heading down the fell side quite steeply, to then head along the side of Greendale Gill, but quite high up, and you have to ford a little tiny beck here, which is easily done, and it's quite a steep drop here and a narrow path as you're heading down, and you reach a fence along your left hand side here as it's a very steep drop and a bit of a wet, slippy, rocky area to descend, and then it's an eroded grassy path back to the bridge here onto the main road, and then left to where you park the car at Greendale. So yeah, quite an eroded path this section. There is another route you can do, which is on a previous video, where from the Buckbarrow summit you would head down the front and more to this side of the crags, heading towards this gill, and there's a path heading down alongside this gill back to the road, but it's a longer stretch along the road to walk back along to Greendale and the car, and that would be my preferred route, I would say, rather than this. So I hope you enjoy the video. Catch you all again on another adventure very soon. Bye for now.